Akil,
right.
delete anything before this.
Are we recording?
And
Welcome to episode 4. Let's just start with segment 1. This is ridiculous. We'll figure out our introduction one day, guys.
All right, friends, we have another wonderful confession from the Muslim Lounge. I've built up my walls so high that I don't even know how to tear them down long enough to truly let anyone in, not even myself. It's crazy how you can be surrounding by so many, but feel like you have no one. The craziest part of all is no one can tell. I guess that's the thing about walls. They are good at hiding behind 5. I'm reading the confession as written. Please excuse any errors.
I have no idea why the 5's there. That could have been his typo or her typo.
Yeah. This one hits a little bit close to home. I'm a guy that has built up walls, impenetrable walls, around who I am. And I don't think being a content creator, being on a podcast really helps with that. It if anything, it reinforces the walls because like I would have to like be a pretend version of Akil in public spaces and then be a pretend version of Akil online. And so all that pretending gets positively reinforced and people are like, oh, you're so cool. And on the inside, I'm like, that's not who I am. But on the outside, I'm like, oh, I am cool. So I just need to keep faking it forever until I explode.
Interesting. And going from the content creation, my online persona, right, on either the communities I'm part of or even my content creation, people think I'm one way. And then when they meet me in real life, they're like, oh, he's just a teddy bear, right? Mm-hmm. So I do think that these walls you build, either when you first meet people or you meet them online, are really hard to tear down. And there's a reason why, right? We all been through stuff. Mm-hmm. And the older you get, the more walls you do have. I do feel like that. But Kiki, as the most social one of all of us, what do you think?
I'm an introvert, okay? I don't like hanging out.
Sure.
I am an introvert.
No.
My man just said
hard
no. Hard no.
Okay, so I think we all build walls, and personally speaking, I think as we age, as you said, like we build more walls and it's harder to break away from that. And I thought something interesting that you said, Akil, was like people reinforce the person that you kind of like, that that's not you at your core, but you get reinforced, so you continue. And I see that a lot happening around me with people, and it's like, who are you outside of that image, and why do you think people can't accept you as you are? And that's why you have all of these walls built. So if we tear one wall down slowly, not even like all together, that might be a little too much for everyone, but it might be, man, I'm not good at this. I give up. I can't do this.
Says the life coach.
Okay. Says the life coach. We broke in the life coach. Her walls came down. Her walls came down. We broke her.
The prophecy is fulfilled. Okay.
Let's go. Mission accomplished.
Like I'm trying to think about what you said and how like I guess I'm trying to go into coach mode, and then I'm trying to think about myself, and so I'm like, how do I go
okay. So try to keep it to the confession, right? Like he's surrounded by people, but he still feels like he has no one. Yeah. And like it sounds like he wants to let someone in. Yeah. But he doesn't know how.
For that he's looking for that one person that allows him or her to be. Wait, why did you say him?
Because this is a real dude thing to do.
This is a dude thing to say. Ain't no girl saying this. Like, yo, me and Akil know when it's a brother, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's looking for that one person to just be like, you're fine the way you are. You can act freely, and that's the whole point with our ego and nuffs and everything. If we take away that and just act like who we were, our inner child comes out. That's who we are at our core, and coming back to that, bringing that home. And I think this is why I have so much playfulness in me. And this is, I think you mentioned saying, like, when people look at you, like, it's like you're fun or whatever. And it's like that's just me at my core. And that's what I like to do, bring out in people and do with people. But this person just needs that person to just be like, hey, you're fine the way you are, and I accept you. I think somebody saying that to, if we all closed our eyes and we had that one person that we want to be badly accepted in front of, and we heard them say, hey, you're fine the way you are, I accept you the way you are, you would feel like finally, like, okay, I'm finally heard something, right?
Yeah, but
Hard
the way
disagree. Go
here's
ahead,
the
Zane.
thing. I'll say this part. They said they have their walls built up.
Walls.
So when that person says that, the first thing that this guy is thinking is like, she don't know me. She don't know the real me, right? That's where it is.
And that gets reinforced too.
Yeah,
Because
that
I've
gets reinforced.
had eyes open that one person say, I accept you as you are. I know you have walls. Tear them down. I will love you. I will accept you. And then, not even tearing the walls down, like opening the door a little bit, they bounce. And that has happened multiple times.
Yeah.
Right. So I said that there's positive reinforcement where I'm the fake version and people are like, I love that. And then I also have negative reinforcement where like you open up a little bit, or you have like a mental health day where you're just not feeling it. And you're like, all right, I can't perform today, so I'm just going to stay back. And then they still kind of bounce. So it's like there's that negative reinforcement as well.
Yeah.
So I'm disagreeing hard with what Kiki says, just based on my own lived experience. I don't think you will ever find one person that will accept you for who you are until, Achi, you accept yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
Because
and a
that's
lot
the
of people
problem
don't
right
accept
there.
themselves.
And this person doesn't accept themselves.
Yeah.
And
that's what this is when he says like people A don't understand that I'm feeling lonely, and B, I do think someone did say I accept you, but I don't think some person bounced. I think the issue is that this person's like, you don't know me at
you don't know
all.
me, so I'm
You
gonna
don't know the
bounce.
real me.
Yeah.
You don't know the real me, and that's why you're saying that.
But they never will.
Yeah.
Right. So going back to my own experience, and please share your own experiences because I see them in the notes. I know you have experiences as well.
Yeah.
But I've met people when I've been at the top of my game, like wall wise, performance wise, fake kill wise. And I've met people when I'm at the bottom of my game and I'm a little bit more vulnerable and I don't have the energy. It's not that I don't want to keep the walls up. It's that I don't have the energy to keep the walls up.
Yeah.
And the people that accept me when I have my walls up, when I meet them, they're quicker to bounce. But the people who meet me when the walls are down even a little bit, they're willing to stay when the walls come more down. Right?
Yeah.
So as long as
you're
you're
giving
keeping
them a glimpse.
because you're giving them a glimpse, and this is going to sound really shallow. I'll say it anyway. It's the same thing with makeup. If you meet someone and you wear makeup every single time you see them, then the one day you show up without makeup, they're going to be like, who is this person? This is not the person I know. They look completely different. Right?
They're like, are you sick? Is everything okay?
Are you sick? Are you tired? Did you like fall down the stairs? Right?
Yeah. Actually, you're right. That happened to me actually like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I like was going into work barefaced, nothing, and like all my coworkers are like, yo, are you okay? And I'm just like, stop asking me that.
Yeah. And it's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad to not wear makeup. People don't look better or worse with or without makeup. They look different. And sometimes just that change, especially if you're already used to things being one way, that change can be enough to like shatter an entire relationship. going back to the walls, I don't think makeup's going to shatter an entire relationship, but so you need to be honest with yourself and present yourself not 100% honestly. I don't think anybody does that.
Yeah.
But you need to leave hints and leave glimpses as you're getting to know someone, so that when you open up, even if it's a little bit, they don't run.
Yeah.
And if they do run, forget them. They suck.
So one of the things, thing is, this person is also surrounded by people. So people, I feel like people think he's popular and feel like he's popular when he's really not. Like, but and this is something I noticed of people who have like a lot of friends. Like me, I'm a hermit. I barely go out. Right? I'm happy. Right? Some days I aren't. I'm not. Some days I see like friendship videos. I'm just like, oh, that would have been fun to do. But then I remembered, nah, I hate big crowds, right? But other times it's like I've noticed people who have the largest friend group and then they still, you know, are depressed and or take their life, you know, commit suicide. And it's just like, what happened? This guy seems so happy. This girl seems so happy. What happened to them, right? And I think this goes also back to our previous episode about social media. It's like you don't know what people are going through, right? That perfect couple could be fighting behind closed door. That dude who is living this wonderful life, going to all the Instagrammable and content creatable travel locations with all his friends, you know, could be the loneliest person in the world. You don't know that. And so that's how I feel like this confessing is coming off.
Yeah.
And then other times people like less so in the relationship sense, when you first meet people, and this is again why I hate the formal meetups or the rishta what do you call them, the rishta services or even the dating apps, is because you're putting your best foot forward, right? And you're putting the
Yeah.
best part of you forward. The issue with that is you're only that best part of you like 5% of the time. 75% of the time you're like the worst part, like you're the worst, right?
Way
What?
less.
Way
Way
less.
less.
Okay, way less. Okay, sure. But I like the number 5. But like
Sure.
70, like usually I am at my worst, right? Now people love when I'm actually like I call it serious chaplain mode, Zane, right? They're like, yo, why don't he come out? That's the best of me. I can't stay like that all the time. I'll get tired, right? The abrasive gamer who trolls everybody, that is me at my worst. I enjoy that guy. So if you can't accept the trolling, abrasive gamer Zane, you don't get the best Zane, right? So that's why I say like all these dating apps, all these Rishta things and whatnot, you're putting your best foot forward. And what happens when people do that and people really know themselves, they start to ask like, this person likes the best of me, but can they handle me the way I am 75% of the time, which is the worst of me, right?
Yeah.
And that's really important.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this person is also going through when it comes to relationships.
But when I'm looking at this sentence, it's crazy how you can be surrounding by so many, but feel like you have no one. That's a huge red flag for me.
That's a call for help.
Bro, do you have depression? Can you talk to a doctor, please?
Yes.
Because that's like that. Get professional help for that one. Because it's like if you're sad, but to have that sense of there are people
Loneliness.
around me, even if it's not a lot of people, but there are people around me, but I cannot connect with them emotionally because my emotions aren't readily available for them. That's depression, bud. Get help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get off social media also. I'm gonna say
Get off
that right
social
now.
media also.
Get that whole
And
FOMO
you know,
stuff and whatnot. Yeah.
the people
And
that
with that, I'm
hide
resigning from
behind
the podcast.
I meant stop watching, consuming content. Like,
yes.
you know,
we can talk about consuming versus creating
Yeah.
content in a
Yeah.
future episode. I think
But
that's
Kiki was
important.
saying, what were you saying,
I
Kiki?
was saying people that hide behind their smiles are the ones that seem the happiest. Those are some of these people where like they have these walls built up, or they're the ones with suffering from depression. And it's like our society is showing like, you know, if you're smiling, you're happy, like you're fine, or if you have a large friend group, you're okay. But it's like those are the people that end up committing suicide or going through deeper issues.
Yeah.
So
It reminds me of Spider-Man, right? I'm a big comic book geek, and one of the things Spider-Man is known for is his jokes. He's
Mm-hmm.
constantly joking, right? While he's in a fight. And the joke is the thing that everybody knows is if he goes silent during a fight, that means he's gonna kill you, right? But when he's talking,
Dang, people
he's
said that to me
covering
in the
up.
classroom.
Yeah, when Spider-Man is talking, he's covering an insecurity. And if you
Mm-hmm.
notice, the one of the reasons Spider-Man got big in the early days was because Stan Lee created him to have an everyday people problem. He was the only superhero we saw struggle to pay his phone bill, right? So he
Mm-hmm.
literally was struggling from depression and whatnot. And there's a one-off comic miniseries where he's older. It's called Spider-Man Reign, where he is depressed. He's definitely suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
and like he's joking more, right? But he's definitely suicidal, and
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy to see that, because these type of people wake up and they just know they need to do the work, and there's no one around them, but they still continue on. So definitely
Mm-hmm.
get. And when I'm reading that Spider-Man Rain comic book, Rain spelled Reign, I'm like, yo, Peter Parker needs a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially for all the jokes, because he's covering it.
Yeah.
He's covering his issues and his jolly demeanor. And where other superheroes think he's just a kid having fun, when in reality he feels responsible for the death of his uncle.
Yeah.
That was the geek coming out. I'm very sorry about that.
No, don't apologize. I gotta pick
Yeah,
up Spider-Man Rain now.
yeah. Spider-Man, yo, the ending. I'm gonna say one thing, and this is a lot of guys go through this. And if you're thinking this, don't
Mm-hmm.
think like this. Mary Jane is dead in the comics, and one of the things he says is, "One day I'll join you, but not today. Today I have responsibilities." Right? And that hits every guy so hard that I know that read the comics. I'm looking at your face right now. I'm like, that hit you hard, didn't it?
No,
Right?
that's
Oh,
that's what
it's
both
yeah,
of my grandparents said
yeah.
when their husbands died.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not today. Today I have responsibilities. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, you gotta talk to somebody
You
about
got to
that,
talk to
right?
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And going back to the confession, it says the craziest part is uh no one can tell.
yeah.
No, they can tell.
They can tell.
They can
When you
they're not
smile like
bringing
that,
it up
yeah.
because you put up walls, and fun fact, they also put up walls. And so them asking you about what you're hiding means that they have to uncover what they're hiding too.
Mm.
And they're probably comfortable not asking.
They're comfortable
Also, they
not
probably
asking.
don't want to
Yeah,
deal with it or talk about it.
exactly. It's a comfort thing. But they know. And if
Mm-hmm.
you are willing to open that door, not right now, because that takes work to get to there, then they'll be willing to open that door as well. And then you can have those more meaningful relationships.
And bro, you are in the Muslim lounge. So I know I said I charge in the last episode, I charge people $50 and I have a 2 hour minimum, right? I will forego my fee. So reach out. Oh, we good.
For the initial consultation, we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. Yeah. And I'm not in the Muslim lounge because, wow, it's a scary place. But
I
but
am
yeah,
now.
Kiki's
you
there.
have us on. If you're watching this podcast, sorry for making fun of you. Like, reach out to us. You have all of our
Yeah.
information, links in bio,
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
We're all going through this. More people than you realize are
Mhm.
going through this, have gone through this, will go through this. If you can be strong for yourself, you can be strong for others. But it takes a lot of internal work to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a sad start.
That was a
That was
sad
a sad
start.
start.
Let's just get happy. Let's put up all our walls and like
Yeah.
smile, that fake smile we do. We're completely all right.
Yeah.
And just go to segment 2.
Speaking of emotional labor, what is the bare minimum? Kiki, do you want to
Yeah.
talk about this?
What is the bare
The
minimum?
bare minimum.
Yes.
I like how we're just pushing me in the front today.
Hey, you added it to the outline, so
No, Zane did.
No, that was definitely me.
That was Zane.
that was you?
That was Zane.
Oh, okay,
Let's start
Zane,
with
Zane,
The
Zane.
weaponization. You know what? Since I added, I would like you guys to answer, right? The weapon.
Okay.
I believe there's a weaponization of the bare minimum, right? Everyone has like a different
Mhm.
thought of what the bare minimum is, and I think that term has been weaponized. So, and the title segment is expectations and the weaponization of bare minimum. What do you guys think about? Or if they wanted to, they would.
Mhm.
What do you guys think about that?
Can you I don't know if Kiki's on board. Can you explain that a little bit more? Because I've heard of weaponized incompetence. I have
Mm.
not heard of weaponized bare minimum. What
Maybe I
is this?
use that
Yeah.
word to sound fancy, but like one of the things with bare minimum, I should maybe I misspoke when I said
Mm,
weaponization, but I do feel like guilting people of saying they're doing only the bare minimum, or not being
okay.
gracious and showing gratitude, being ungrateful for what
Okay.
people actually do.
Okay. So
Okay.
my take on this is the bare minimum is meeting everyone's individual. Like if you're in a partnership, marriage, whatever relationship,
Mhm.
your bare minimum should be your needs. That is what bare minimum is.
Mm.
And that the other person should be meeting your needs. That is what I like. If there's a meter, that's where I
Mhm.
would put bare minimum. It's like you're at least meeting my needs. If you're not meeting my needs, then you're not doing the bare minimum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep that. So bare minimum is used often, right? Like it's used
Mhm.
for a whole different things. What about when you're looking for a partner? Like let's say you're looking for the apps, and I hear a lot of girls say this. Oh,
Standards. Call
he's
those
standards.
standards.
We'll call that
Mhm.
standards. Okay, what's
Okay.
your bare minimum standards? Then, like for example, I know a lot of girls are like, "Oh, he smokes. That's the bare minimum. He shouldn't be smoking." Or guys would be like,
Mm.
"Oh, she's not wearing hijab. That's the bare minimum. She should be wearing hijab." Right?
For me,
So
she
like,
needs to be at least 6 foot. Just because
She needs to be 6 foot.
I have back problems, I can't like bend down to hug people that much.
you know what? That's fair. That's a health issue. I'll give you that.
You know,
Kiki's
Zayn
obviously
met
off the
me.
list.
Yeah, Zayn met me.
He's
He
like
was
4
like,
feet
"Wow, I
tall.
thought you were." I'm not 4'5".
Wait, what did you say? What are you saying?
Didn't you say like you thought I was taller or shorter
Yeah,
or
I didn't
something?
expect you to be that short.
Mhm.
Like I realized you were short. I just had no idea you were that short.
You have tall girl energy. Did you just say you're 5 foot nothing?
Yeah.
She's straight 5 feet
That's
though.
why. When you told me you were 6'4", I was like, "Oh, you're not gonna see me. Like I'm
I'm
not gonna
not going to see
exist to
you.
you."
Like here's my question. Like I actually wanted to ask you this, right? I guess I'll ask you this
Ask
little
it.
side of the right. How do you like? I always wondered how do people at your height like
Who are you
experience the world?
talking to first of
To
all?
Kiki, to
Okay.
Kiki, right? Like you're 6'4", I'm 5'11". It's fine. Like we
Mm.
still like
Zane, you're allowed to say 6. That's fine.
yeah.
I give you permission.
Oh, I mean, I like to be accurate, right? What I'm saying is,
Mhm.
how do you, as short people, as extremely short people, how do you like experience the world? Like that
Like a
I
is
dress
normal
tight.
person.
no, like
Like
I
Tubby.
cannot experience like no. When we went like to the burger place, right? Like I'm looking at the counter. The counter is like at my waist, but for you, the counter is like here, right? So like my thing
Okay.
is like or like how do you like reach stuff? Like do you have like a ladder, a step stool in your kitchen?
Do you remember?
Like
Do you remember Beauty and the Beast and the ladder in her library? I have
yeah.
that all around my house.
You have a ladder
What?
around
No,
your
I'm
house.
kidding. No.
Oh, okay.
I got so excited, dude.
We got
If I
something
had
else.
one of those ladders, like my head would hit the ceiling just looking at it, dude.
like like for example, sometimes like I could see like for example, I just changed all the batteries to my smoke alarms, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, if I had Akil's height, I wouldn't need a ladder. But
Yeah.
like
Okay, for
all
that
I
I
needed
need
a
a ladder.
yeah, I did need a ladder, but I only needed to take like 2 steps, and I'm scared of heights. If I was your height, I would have to take like 5 steps and go all the way up, and then have vertigo.
I
Yeah,
have my 5 foot ladder.
I'm okay. Like
Get on there.
I don't think you understand. Like I went on the second step and changed the what do you call it? The fire alarm, the smoke alarms, right? The batteries. I am scared of heights. I cannot go to the top of the ladder, even if it's a
Mhm.
5 foot ladder. Right? I can't. Like I'm scared. Right. So for me to, if I was your height, I would have to go all the way up the ladder, right, to reach that
Yeah.
smoke alarm.
Mhm.
And I would be definitely scared to do that, especially for the smoke alarm that's right above my staircase. I wouldn't be able to do that. So that's why I always wonder, like, how do you experience life? And that's why we were so shocked. Oh, do you have a moving ladder like Beauty and the Beast? Like, we got excited. Like, that's so cool.
This is why you are your height. This is why I am my height. We're both afraid of heights, but we manage
Mm.
differently.
Sure.
I I gotta be honest. I'm throwing a hard nazar at Kiki because I only see, to put it bluntly, the upsides of being that small. Right?
Oh, with the
No
back
matter
ribs.
which friend gives you a ride, you fit in their car. No matter where you're walking on the street, you don't have to avoid the trees over the sidewalk.
I'm the perfect armrest.
Yeah. You don't have to pay $100 extra for economy plus to get that one
Oh,
extra inch.
yo, that's why she's always traveling. She's comfortable. She's comfortable. Yo,
I bet you get piggyback rides.
I have.
See?
Yeah, no one gives us piggyback rides.
We have to give piggyback rides.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
even then they're like, oh, watch out, there's a sign.
Yeah. Like, we can't be ever in our relationships the small spoon. Like, that's not gonna work. Right?
No.
Yeah.
We got jetpacks. If I want to be small spoon, someone's knees are in my back. It doesn't work.
I'm fun sized and it's great. I'm sorry y'all can't experience it.
No, like that's the thing. Like, I want, like I told you, I want to live vicariously through you.
Yes.
Like the short social person rather than the tall.
I'm not social.
Zane, when you go to fix her microphone, take your shooting GoPro and just strap it to her head. So we can see what she sees.
No, so like I knew a couple. The brother was like 6'4". You know, he was like 6. He's very tall. He's taller than I am. And his wife was like 4'11", 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was 2 things. I told him before he got married, bro, you have a queen size, get a king size bed. It's gonna save you so much trouble. And he's like, no, she's short. It's fine. Queen will work. Yo, the second he got married, he's like, he knocked on my door. We lived in apartments like across from each other. He's like, bro, you were so right. So he got king size. I'm like, it doesn't matter how small she is. And then the other thing, she'll be like, it's right in front of your face. And he'll be like, where? And then he would have to mentally take a note. Wait a second. So he looks down and it's there, right? So he's looking in the pantry. She's like, it's right in front of your face. He has to remember that she's like 2 feet shorter than him. So he has to look down, right? So yeah.
It's always the shortest girls that want the tallest men.
I mean, I don't think that was
when? Where are these short girls?
My best friend is always after me. She's like, why? Like, she's like, like you can have a reasonable, like, on Minder or Muzzmatch or whatever other Muslim apps there are now.
Yeah.
You have your height preference. And she was like, it's always the shortest girls that want like the tallest one versus an average height or whatever. And I've seen this a lot. And, you see the 6 foot guy with, as he was even saying, like the short girl.
Yeah.
And I mean,
because it goes back to the bare minimum needs, right? You can't reach the top. Your coffee mug on the top of the shelf. So you need the taller
Kiki,
guy.
Can you reach
I'm
those
not
top
that
coffee
short.
mugs?
I can. Yeah, you just
in your kitchen.
Get on the counter.
Do you have a step stool? Do you have a step
about
stool?
The one behind her.
My man is like, oh, okay. Okay, sure, she can. All right, going back to the bare minimum. There's
going back to the bare minimum. So not,
bare minimum.
Not height.
So where were we?
So I'm completely on board with Kiki here.
Okay.
I would say like the bare minimum is getting my needs met for you. That's probably not a good way of saying it. But like if I need a roof over my head, if I need food on my table, then if I'm going to get into a serious relationship, I need to be able to provide that as well.
Okay.
Right? If I need mental health, if I need physical activity, I need to be able to provide that as well. Right? Just so that we have not like we have the equity of outcomes, right?
So, like, one of the things I hate that thing, because bare minimum, like, when it comes to standards, like, the bare minimum, he can't smoke. That's haram. Or the bare minimum, she needs to wear a hijab, right? And I think, like, when it comes to that, everyone, especially when it comes to, like, the religious journey, right?
Yeah.
Jannah isn't cheap. The bare minimum, the farthest praying 5 times a day, fasting, dressing appropriately, whatnot, is difficult, right? Especially, and ask a convert Muslim, right? Praying 5 times a day, right? Fajr and Isha is hard. Or like getting enough sleep for Ramadan, waking up properly and fasting staying healthy to do it. We consider the FUD of this bare minimum, but Jenna's not cheap. They're hard to do. Or asking a smoker to quit, that's hard to do. So when I say weaponize bare minimum, I think we use that as an excuse to look down on people and write people off that they're not potential spouses because of that. Rather, we should look like these are their struggles, these are their journeys. Do I want to help them along with these journeys and these struggles? For example, me, I do not want to marry a convert who hasn't been introduced to the Lota, because that's not something I want to help you with, the Lota, right? I just don't want to do it, right?
But that's fine, man. That's a boundary.
But if you have issues with smoking, you're a convert, you smoke weed, I could handle that, right? I could be like, okay, you need to make the intention of quitting. When you do it, open the garage and do it there. Make sure when my kids are around, you don't do it. When we have family over, don't do it. And then you have to, like, fine, you can start off doing it 3 times a week, change it to 2, then change it to 1, right? You have to make the intention of wanting to change that, right? So that's one thing. With the Lota, I'm sorry, I can't do that, right? Now with the other things, like, for example, the bare minimum of, like, last episode we were talking about parenting, right? The bare minimum for parenting, keeping your kid alive, is hard. So I think we just need, I feel like when I say the bare minimum, the weaponization of it, I think what I meant by that was that we've lost, because of social media and whatnot, we've lost being kind to one another and understanding one another, where now people will post, oh, my husband fixed my car or pumped my gas at night, right? And people will be like, well, that's the bare minimum. It's like, bro, she's just being gracious. She's happy. She put that online. And listen to our previous episode about not putting stuff online because people will tear you down. She's just being grateful. And other people are like, that's the bare minimum. And it's like, bro, how do I keep you happy? And imagine being married to someone who doesn't express gratitude at all. And when you do the dishes one night, they're like, well, that's the bare minimum, I cooked. Or vice versa. If you're the one always cooking and they cooked, you're like, that's the bare minimum, right? Imagine that. So I feel like this whole talk about bare minimum takes away our gratitude for one another. And I do blame the social media talk for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because you're not looking at what you what you think. You're looking at what everyone else is looking at and thinking.
And that's also like a really transactional way to look at relationships, right?
Yeah.
I think now I want to take back what I said and just go back to what Kiki said and just be like, no, the bare minimum, like you said with childcare, the bare minimum for childcare is keeping your child alive.
Yeah.
The bare minimum it's hard. It's hard to do. So the bare minimum for a relationship is keep yourself alive, right? If I'm feeding my girlfriend, if I'm like, unless there's extenuating circumstances, like she has like an illness or a disability or something, if I'm doing the things that how do I want to phrase this? If my significant other can't survive without me, then they're not doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Right. And again, unless there's extenuating circumstances.
Unless it's extenuating circumstances.
So like, if I leave for a week to go on like a work trip,
and they
can't cook, or they're calling me like every day, 5 times a day while I'm at a conference, that's not reaching the bare minimum. The bare minimum is you need to be at an entire person on your own. You don't need to be perfect.
Be independent.
Yeah. You don't need to be perfect. You're on a journey. I'm on a journey. If we're together, we're on a journey together. I will help you when you need and want help. You will help me when I need and want help. But the bare minimum is that you are on your journey. And the bare minimum is that I am on my journey. And alhamdulillah, if we are together, we can be on that journey together.
And that I want to bring it back to the segment number 1 with that confession, where they like, no one actually knows who I am. A lot of times I find like guys and girls, they're like, you don't know me. I don't, because they have this talk about bare minimum. Maybe this person is closed off to people he should be open up to because he's worried that he hasn't reached the bare minimum standard, right? That could be another thing, right? So we need to watch how we talk and what we put out there when we start saying that's the bare minimum and
Yeah.
whatnot. And you talked about, like, both of you guys talked about the bare minimum when it comes to relationship. What about like standards, right?
Yeah.
Like, now the thing about what I just said about standards, where everyone has a
Hmm.
struggle. What do you think about that, Kiki?
With standards, it's
Yeah.
like, you hear, oh, I'm going to talk from the girl's perspective.
Mhm.
The guy should be making X amount of dollars a month, or this should be their salary. The standard should be their education level to whatever, like bachelor's, master's, or extra. And then what are other standards? Like those standards, sure. But what about I like the two things that are listed in
Mhm.
Islam to look at is their faith and their character.
Mhm.
And we don't talk about those being standards, like
Yeah.
kind-hearted soul. Why are we not looking for that as a standard? Because if you have a kind person as a standard, then it's pretty obvious that person will be listening to you, understanding you, and some of your needs that you want to be met will be met.
Mhm. And
But
and also, why aren't standards being met? Like, when you say like financial standards, right? Like, there's a friend of mine, right? He's actually in the Muslim lounge, but I'll keep his name quiet. He's married, and now, but he's a twice dropout, and he had to, his the mahar he could afford wasn't much, and the money
Hmm.
he was making wasn't much because both his parents died. He had to bury them. He got something complications happened with what do you call it, inheritance, right? I'll put it that
Hmm.
way to keep him private. So he didn't have much money, right? So he had to survive. So now when he's trying to get married, most girls are like, well, why aren't you financially where you're supposed to be at this age? Well, I have he literally had these extreme circumstances from high school to college that he can't be
Hmm.
making that much money. And as millennials, we graduated in a time of recession, and we hit two. We've experienced two once in a lifetime recessions twice in our lifetime, right? Um, so like, yeah, it is where it is, and I
Yeah.
think people. I do feel like this comes from a lack of compassion when we're
Hmm.
meeting our spouses and whatnot, or meeting potentials. That there
Yeah.
needs to be a what do you call it, compassion there. And also, like, even with the guys, where guys are like, the bare minimum is hijab. Like, bro, you do understand she could still have an ugly personality with the hijab on. And also, hijab's not easy. Walk out the door with the hijab on, bro. Like, it's not
Hmm.
easy. So if they're doing it, give them props. If they're not doing that, be a little compassionate. Yeah.
yeah. I think a lot of today's, when we're in the market to look for a spouse, a partner, it's so transactional.
Hmm.
It's
Mhm.
not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, if I have the right amount of money with this person and my money included, then we can have a good life. Sure, but like is
It's never
that
that.
what you really want at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And honestly, if you work together, like, there was actually an awesome video I saw late last night. And there was a sister saying, like, when they first got married, he didn't pray all the time. So he really wasn't doing the bare minimum, right? But the bare minimum is difficult, getting your 5 daily prayers, especially for a convert. And she was like, I always had to remind him, I always had to do this. And then 7 months down the line in their marriage, he's praying all the 5 prayers and doing all the extra prayers that we have. And she's like, he's he's praying a lot more than I was, and he's being more religious than I was, right? So, like, just because when you meet someone they're one way doesn't mean they're not going to improve, right? Now, I'm
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
saying marry for the potential and stuff, but what I'm saying is just be a little patient and compassionate with
Yeah.
people's
Hmm.
struggles.
Yeah.
That's why I hate this term bare minimum. When people
Hmm.
say bare minimum, usually they're the least compassionate people I know.
They're
Uh,
putting you in a box. They
yeah.
want
Hmm.
they want what they have visioned in
Mhm.
their box. And if you don't fit that box, then they're like, "Oh, well, then you're not meeting my standards. I'm moving on to
Hmm.
the next step." Checks off all of these things.
But what makes them like that? Like, what makes someone so disconnected? Like, who hurt them? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everything. Everything,
Everything.
dude. Everything
Okay.
hurt them. Maybe they saw like a situation with their parents or other people in their lives growing up where the relationship was unfulfilling and they didn't know entirety of what was going on there, because let's be honest, most parents don't trauma dump on their kids. Good parents don't trauma dump on their kids. So they're like, oh, we're seeing this mismatch in our parents, and this is the only thing that it can be, so I need to have this in my standards for when I grow up, whether that's a real thing that you can actually get or not. Or like we said a week ago, social media sets up this standard for relationships, this standard for dating, this standard for childcare that is not realistic at all. Even though it's in somebody's house and it's somebody's personal account, it's not realistic at all. Is the standard coming from there? Is the standard coming from unresolved trauma in the self? Right? Maybe it's insecurities that I have that I can't solve for myself, so somebody else needs to come and solve them for me. So these can be coming from anywhere, and I think when it comes to bare minimums, it's a very personal thing. But they get shared and then they become less personal, right? The friend that you had with the financial situation, why are people saying how much money he should have at this age? Where did that idea come from? Where did that standard come from?
Yeah.
Right. Is there a spreadsheet somewhere that we can get that says at this age you need to have this much money and this many assets?
Exactly.
And that keeps changing with time.
And that keeps changing.
Yeah.
Even like the age of getting married now is no longer like early 20s or mid 20s. It's like it's going up.
Yeah. I am now the age that my parents were when they had all of their children.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I have none of the children.
Okay.
Inshallah, by the time this podcast goes out, they will have 2 grandchildren.
Inshallah. Okay.
As of recording, they only have 1. But
inshallah. Well, moving from the bare minimum, let's talk about high value.
Let's talk about these standards, dude.
Yeah. Let's talk. Okay.
Yeah.
And high value men.
Yeah. High value men.
Let's watch. Let's watch this.
Let's watch the video.
Do the thing.
I actually need to watch this.
Yeah, I'm watching it too.
Yeah, cool.
What would make a high value man?
I'm going to tell you that I hate that term. You're either a man or you're a man-child, and that's it. If you're a man, you're everything that they describe what a high value man is. A high value man is someone who's well-spoken, who's charismatic, who can earn, who can make friends, who can open doors, be a gentleman, but who can also fight and defend your honor. But that's just a man. What a man should be. The fact that we're calling it a high-value man is the same reason why toxic masculinity exists. You're either toxic because you're a weak, nice guy, or you're masculine.
And we're back.
Kiki, why would you make us watch this?
Yes, Kiki, why would you make... What do you think, Kiki? I want to... Actually, all this high-value male stuff and toxic masculine, I want to understand a woman's perspective when a dude talks like that. Like, go ahead, Kiki. Take all the time you need.
So the only reason I think I made you guys watch that video was because I've seen a lot of men run away from their responsibilities, which kicks in the masculine energy in me. And that's why I'm like, okay, I've talked to my therapist, I guess, about this a lot. I'm like, whenever I'm single, I'm always in my feminine energy, and it's like I'm that creative person. I'm making the TikToks, I'm like thinking, and nothing's stressing me out excessively. But the minute I like start talking to someone that say isn't the best fit for me or not whatever, I get put into the masculine energy mode where I have to lead, I have to make decisions, I have to be the alpha or whatever, because they're not leading and I no longer feel safe to like sit back. Does that make sense?
Kiki, it makes sense. Toxic masculinity.
Kiki, you're so toxic. I'm not even gonna
lie.
You are so toxic. Okay, let's break this down. Okay, I understand the fact of not feeling safe. I get that, right? And you know, when you're in a relationship, you all should feel safe and comfortable with each other. So 100%.
That's the bare minimum.
That's the bare minimum. As far as masculine and feminine or energies, first of all, that's just gender roles repackaged. Okay, that let's just call it what it is. All right, And as far as leading or making decisions, y'all should be doing that as a partnership. Y'all should know who's good at what and do whatever you're good at, right? If someone's better at budgeting and another person's better at cleaning, figure it out. Or like average your, what you're good at, right? And
but if you're the person that has to take like 80% of the relationship to keep it from breaking apart,
that's not
that's too
masculine.
much.
But that has nothing to do with masculine.
It's not masculine.
That's not masculine or feminine. Like, what does gender roles and masculinity and femininity have to do with that?
That just means that you care more.
You're saying, so what I'm hearing from you is you only want to give 20%. And if you meet a guy like me and Akil, we need to give 80%. Is that what you're doing? Because that's going to exhaust us.
I actually would. I'm a simp.
but think about that. That's what you just, like what you just said. You're doing 80% of the work in the relationship. Would you like me to do 80%?
No, I don't know. I think each person can have their bad days but the other person has to want to step up to be like, okay, I got this. You can.
But what does that have to do with masculinity? That has nothing to do with masculine energy. You need to step up when you both.
That's called being responsible. That's called being in a relationship. That's called empathy.
Yeah. Yes. So that's why I don't like your.
I just lack men with empathy in my life. Okay, that's basically it.
Oh my god. So okay. You know what? I will text some of my friends. Send them your way. But also at the same time, this goes to like, what do we define as bare minimum? Like the term high value, I hate that term, right? Because people respond differently to it. They're like, what is high value? If you're Muslim, someone who's a Hafiz al-Quran, the Imam at the masjid, does all his religious duties, right? And let's face it, some of them are spiritual brothers who be spending all the time at the masjid. Sometimes we're just using that, like, man, I saw a thirst trap of the Quran the other day, right? This brother, beautiful voice, recite the Quran, and then he ended the video and he winked at the camera. I'm like, bro, did you just thirst trap with the Quran? Like, seriously? Like, why? Yeah. Well, it wasn't during Ramadan. At least it wasn't during Ramadan, right? But like other brothers be like, they're, got their whole, like, I'm doing, what do you call that when you stay at the masjid overnight? Ittikaf, right? I do ittikaf every day. It's like, he's high value, bro. He's only doing it like, intentions matter. And then another thing with high value could also be economic. Like the high value man makes the money. He does this. He takes care of that, right? But yet, the friend that I was talking about earlier, I do think he's a high value person. He's a very, he's a very good brother, even though he doesn't make a lot of money. He's very kind. And his wife, who, decided to marry him anyway, alhamdulillah, right? But what is the term high value, right? Yeah. I'm not asking what makes you high value. I'm saying what is high value, right? What makes you high value, that is subjective. If you're religious, you're going to say all these religious things. If you're a materialistic person, you're going to give me materialistic things, right? But when I ask you what is high value, the only thing you could say, and this goes back to the box, is that I want this guy because other people want this guy. He's high value. I only want this because other people want this, right? That's what high value is. It's in demand.
That's gross.
That's what I see. If you want, like, ask any quote unquote guy who has the quote unquote high value stuff that you say, like, let's say a Hafiz al-Quran, and you say, he's high value, that's why I want him. He's high value because he memorized the Quran, and that's why I want to marry him. Like, but imagine,
look at his character. What if he's a Hafiz, but he's drinking?
True. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But let's say he's perfect, right? You only want him because other girls want him. And no guy's going to be like, oh, you only want me because other girls like me? Like, imagine if a guy came to you and, like, Kiki is high value. She's pretty. She's religious. She has good character. But, like, doesn't like you for you. Likes you because other guys like you.
Or because you check off boxes.
Yeah, you check off boxes, and he only likes you because other guys like you. So to him, it's a status thing, right? To those girls who want the high value man, it's a status thing. So do you like us for us, or do you like us because you actually like us? Or do you like us for us, or do you like us because other people like us? We're arm candy.
But I think the point in the video was to say, like, there shouldn't be a thing as high value.
If that was the point, he sucked at making that point.
See, the thing is, this is where social media is. He's mixing a lot of words, right? He's mixing high value. Well, high value means I only like you because other people like you. Okay. Yeah. So that's the first issue. The second issue, what he talks about, is being responsible, right? But he says it's either you're a man child or a man. Now, yes, people who are not responsible are children, right? But that's not a man or a woman thing. That's everybody thing.
Mhm.
And toxic masculinity, it's not just, man, I'm quoting Jordan Peterson right now,
Oh,
but it's
no.
not just toxic masculinity. It's just toxicity.
Mhm.
Women could be toxic too and irresponsible also.
Yeah.
So that entire video, when I'm there, I'm just like, this guy's an idiot.
But he
Oh.
also said, like, I don't like high value male and male, or high value man and man.
Yeah.
I prefer man and man child, but also these words have the same definition.
Yeah.
So I'm not changing what I'm saying. I'm just changing the words that I'm using. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's still that same toxic mindset. He's just using different words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
He came really close to actually making a point that I agree with. Which was what? Which is right at the end, he did like a little turn and then went back. That this idea of being high value is so individualized, and people who buy into that, like the alpha males, are we allowed to say incels on podcasts? The incels that buy into this are just scared losers.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't have any qualities that other people find valuable. So I'm going to define my value by sexual desirability, by hitting the gym, by having a lot of money, because people don't actually value who I am. So I'm going to check off these superficial boxes instead and not really have like character, personality, what we on this podcast would consider value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
right?
Yeah. And what makes you valuable? And the only reason that I'm valuable is because other people want me now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's that definition of value.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And they get off of having, people come after them for those reasons.
Yeah.
And then they end up alone.
Yeah.
And then they're like, why am I alone? And then some shirtless guy on the internet is like, it's because you need to hit the gym more. And then they hit the gym more. And then they're just alone more.
And if you bring it back to Islam, right? It's like, oh, you're low value. You should be reading the Quran. You should be going to the masjid. You should be doing all this religious stuff. But now you're doing
it to expand your faith.
Yeah, expand your faith.
Engage with Allah.
And you should do, exactly. You should be doing it for Allah. Now these guys are going to these different Islamic events and happenings, right? That you should go to, but you're going there to be more desirable for the women.
Yeah.
Right? Think about that. Right. And I remember back when Mufti Menk taught his kids how to knit. Right. This goes back to episode 1. And people were like, one of the social media guys, he said, well, do you guys think that's sexy? Well, what does it matter if knitting is sexy or not? It's knitting. It's a freaking skill. Right?
It's the opposite. It's making clothes to put on, not take off. It's the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. And don't go to the masjid to be sexy. Don't go to itikaf and these different, Muslim gatherings, these halakas to be sexy. Right? That's where it is.
Yeah.
Dang, we really hit Kiki hard. She's speechless right now. What do you have to say to all this? Because I think you thought it was going to go a different way.
No. I really like the point Akil made about, making yourself in a way that checks off these boxes for other people. So like, everyone is attracted to you because you're not actually bringing anything to the table yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
I'm gonna let everybody know Kiki is the most toxic of all of us. Anyway, go ahead.
For the record,
don't ever forget how toxic Kiki is. That's gonna be a thing in every episode now.
She's talking about standard. She's talking about alpha males.
Yeah.
I didn't bring the standards. That was Zane. Zane brought the standards and bare minimum.
Alpha. What is the alpha? Like, what do you like, bro?
Oh, I freaking love alpha males.
You said
you said it first.
You said it first. Like lead in the relationship. Like, what do you mean lead? Like, here's the thing: when people tell me lead, like, am I leading into battle? Like, what am I leading you into? Like, this is just life. I'm living it.
We're only eating at the places that I want to eat at.
Yeah.
We're only going. I'm keeping all of my hot friends on Instagram. And you're deleting all of yours.
Yeah, I'm leading now. And trust me, ladies, you do not want me choosing. Like, if it goes up to the guy, we would eat rice and beans every day. Right? I feel like women are the ones who need to like change around what they're eating.
Variety.
Right?
We need variety in our life.
You need variety. You need soup. Like, I'm missing soup. Like, who the hell eats soup? right? Like when they're not sick.
People. Okay, I was like people
Women,
that are
women
sick.
eat soup.
Yeah, exactly. And yo, this goes back to my thing about high value. You only do it because other people like it. For example, eating sushi. It is my honest belief no one actually likes sushi.
I
I
love
like
sushi.
sushi.
Y'all only eat sushi because other people like sushi. Same thing with boba tea. There's no way someone could with a straight face tell me they like boba tea.
Okay. To be fair, I started eating sushi not because I had a choice, but because I was living with my parents in Sydney, and there were places that only had sushi.
Okay.
And my mom's gluten-free, so that's the place we would go to because they're gluten-free. Because it's sushi.
Fair. Okay.
Didn't like sushi. Ate with my parents a couple times. Started to like sushi.
Okay, so acquired.
Same thing with boba. Both my bobbies love boba. I hated it. Went with them. Now I like it.
Okay.
Now I get it when
the
I'm
flavor.
alone.
Okay.
You have to find the right flavor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I get the roasted brown sugar.
Okay.
Roasted?
With the pearls.
Roasted brown sugar with the pearls.
Yeah.
Is it not just called brown sugar boba?
There is brown sugar, but there's also a roasted brown sugar.
Is that the coffee version?
No.
It is my honest belief. That the only reason people like boba and sushi is because other people like it. They don't want to be the outsider.
That's like wine and alcohol. Like people that say don't people say beer actually tastes terrible?
All
but they
alcohol
only drink
tastes
it because
terrible.
Okay.
I would not know.
Yeah.
But here, but that just goes to certain thing. Like
now, I resigned from the podcast for the second week in a row.
Like what I'll say is same thing. Like there's certain guys that I know that are in the community where every girl wants to marry them, or girls that every guy wants to marry in the community, and it's like you don't actually like them. They're the sushi and the boba tea of the community. You don't actually like them. You just like them because everybody else likes them. So you have to think you like them too. And hence, just like when you're socializing, everybody's going to, sushi. You can't be that social outcast and be like, yo, I hate sushi. This is why I'm a hermit. Right?
Stand your ground. Stand your ground.
Yeah. Maybe instead of
with a fork instead of chopsticks.
You know what? I do. That's one of the reasons I hate sushi. So, Kiki, if you find me a good sushi place and don't judge me for using a fork, I will be open to eating sushi. How about that? Okay. Or trying sushi.
I'm prejudging you for using a fork. It falls apart when you use a fork.
Yeah, you gotta do
the chopsticks.
Oh my goodness! You know what? Never mind.
The fork breaks it apart.
I literally hate it again. Let's just table that thing.
Yeah. Wait, but Akil, raw or cooked or deep fried?
There's cooked.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So I have raw or tempura. That's it. Tempura is the fried.
Okay.
So, but
I
Kiki,
like the raw.
He did also say, as far as emotional, I was seeing some notes about some people truly lack the emotional ability. What do you have to say about that when I say,
Sorry, say that again?
So,
people
for example,
lack the emotional ability to eat sushi?
No, not that. Let's go back. The only reason I brought the sushi and whatnot was because I was trying to make a point that you only like the imam's son because other people like him, when in reality, you're more suitable and you are naturally more attracted to, let's say, the dude who sweeps the masjid and not the guy who's giving the halakha.
Yeah,
right?
But I think these ideas of status and popularity are baked into us from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So we can't completely blame the individual for that one. But once you recognize that in yourself, then you can work on it, right?
But Kiki does have a note. That's what I'm reading. It's on the second page. Do you want to read that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's on the second page.
Here's the thing. I think that's where Kiki thought this conversation was going to go and didn't go there.
Oh, no. That was just me brainstorming. And that wasn't even for the episode, but we can bring it in.
Oh, sure.
We can slip it in.
Some people truly lack the emotional ability to see outside themselves. When emotionally immature people can't see how their actions affect others, they focus on all of the things that have happened to them without understanding how they've contributed, and invoking self-awareness can be harmful to a person who thrives off of blaming others. Thoughts?
Yeah. this goes back to being responsible. I think like the guy was saying being a man or being a man child or being an alpha male or high value male and just a male. I'm saying, yeah, this is called being responsible or irresponsible.
So I'm just talking to irresponsible men. That is all you're telling me.
Yeah.
I am so glad you said it and I didn't have to. You understood us. and to all the guys, you know, like for example, maybe the person who has walls built up from the confession, maybe, you know, if you have that because of your previous relationships, maybe you only met irresponsible women.
Yeah.
Right? Talk about that.
Yeah.
Can I this is my Rishta talk now going out live.
Sure.
Find me a responsible man.
I got you. Inshallah. I got you.
But this idea of like emotional availability to see outside yourself, immature, see how your actions affect others. This goes back through everything that we're talking about so far, where like the whole reason that this high value alpha male rhetoric is going around the internet is because people think that they are a certain way and they can't change. So if you look, and I've done the deep dive into this alpha male stuff because, you know, white supremacy is one of the things I love talking about on the internet. And this is intrinsically linked to that. They'll be like, oh, my chin size is the reason that I can't get a girlfriend. And I can't change that because that's like my biology. And so people adopt these like alpha male, high value, low value, sigma grind set, whatever nonsense they come up with next, because they think that they can't change themselves on a deep intrinsic level. So they make these changes to the outside in order to be accepted because their inside sucks and they think that they can't change it. So they try to convince themselves that their insides don't matter. And that's the same thing that went on with the confession at the beginning of the episode, right? The inside sucks. Sorry, I know I said you needed to get professional help before, and I mean that, but your insides suck. So you create
it's broken. It needs to heal. It needs to fix.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
It needs to heal. But creating a nice outside is not a substitute for that. That's why you can't connect with people. That's why alpha males can't actually get with women unless they pay them. Because fixing the outside does not fix the inside. You need to understand the inside, heal the inside, work on the inside. If you find someone that is willing to help you, great, fantastic.
Or even willing to grow with you.
Or willing to grow with you, right?
Fantastic.
Willing to share that growth experience with you, fantastic. But it is your responsibility and your responsibility alone.
Yes.
Like
no one
they
else
can't
can fix
heal
your
you.
insides.
Exactly.
They can't heal you.
They can love you. They can love your flaws, but they can't heal you.
They cannot heal
that
you.
Goes to be on both sides because
this goes on both sides. Yeah.
Like honestly, I said it's just toxicity. It's not masculine or feminine toxicity, right? There are women who will wear a lot of makeup, dress a certain way, you know, on the outside and be on the inside very ugly and need to heal. And they are emotionally irresponsible when dealing with their spouse or partner.
Yeah.
So, and guys, if you're chasing these emotionally irresponsible women, you don't like you could call them whatever you want to call them, OF girls or whatnot, and the basic level, only fangirls.
Yeah, I haven't heard that used as a pejorative.
I was like, what is
before.
OF girls?
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay, I'm on that side of the internet. Basically, what I'm saying is you're going after, and when you say "yo, girls suck" and whatnot, but you say it the way you know, and some people say it. I don't want to say it this way because it's Ramadan. I'm Muslim, but like you gotta understand, you went after irresponsible women.
Yeah,
it is where it is.
Yeah, when people say all men suck and all women suck, I believe them. I believe that they believe that all men suck or all women suck because unless you're recognizing those things within yourself, that's what you're going to keep getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your face is like do you have a tear in your eye, Kiki? Like
no.
that's my because like that's the nur. Okay, cool. That's a sparkle in her eyes. I'm just like, yo, you want to say something, Kiki?
No.
Okay.
I think this is a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, this is I'm not gonna like this is kind of a bummer, these segments. Important talks, but it was, I'm glad we had the sushi and boba tea talk.
Yeah, for sure.
And now if Tim Hortons comes out with boba tea, I'll definitely try that.
It's only a matter of time, dude. They just released pizza.
Imagine if they release sushi. Tim Hortons, get on that.
They're not doing
if
sushi.
Tim Hortons releases sushi, the entire country will get food poisoning simultaneously.
Yeah.
Don't
That's
insult.
something they shouldn't even try.
Tim Hortons sushi would be one level below gas station.
We're trying to get
that into this
we're
world.
trying to get sponsored by Tim Hortons. We will not. This is a Tim Hortons stan podcast. I'm very sorry.
Brought to you by Tim Hortons.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 4 of Local Chai. We will see you next time. Bye, everyone.